Hello there and welcome to Conversation. Our discussion today is centered on gender-based violence, and our guest is no other than Brian Wembia, who is popularly known as B-Flow. Well, for B-Flow, he's a dancehall artist, he's a hip-hop artist, he's a media entrepreneur, he's a non-political social commentator, he's also a social justice advocate, as well as a part-time radio presenter, a peer educator, and founder of Music for Change initiative. He's also the current chairperson of the HIV, AIDS and Social Commentary Committee of the Zambia Association of Musicians. Apart from that, he's also the global ambassador in the fight against HIV/AIDS for the American organization called AIDS Healthcare Foundation. He's also the first Zambian artist to launch an album at the United States Embassy. Join us in a bit.
Okay. Yeah, the best of the best. Give me rhythmical fire. Me have to dedicate a little something to the voiceless women. Yeah, man. Chance it song. In good and in bad times, in pain and in sickness, till death do us part. Those were your many promises. Why you turn around from sweet to bitter? Why you turn around beating a woman? Why you turn around instigating violence? Why you turn around, she has a sweet voice but she's still voiceless. A very pretty woman, why you make her helpless? Do you remember that she was a pretty empress? You're making a living and making her very voiceless. She has a sweet voice but she's still voiceless. A very pretty woman, why you make her helpless? Do you remember that she was a pretty empress? You're making a living and making her very helpless. She's a voiceless woman, no you mukazi ya butika. She's a voiceless woman, no you mukazi ya butika. Pretty, pretty woman, don't you cry. Never, never worry, it's alright. Pretty, pretty woman, don't you cry. Wilalila, I'll be your voice. She was a little girl with a bright future. She worked so hard, she was like a real soldier. But you see, this life can be so hard sometimes. Her mother and father died in just one night. I still remember that bad incident when them died in that accident. The little girl busy looking at the time, waiting for mommy and daddy to return. When the young girl picked up the phone, she was told that the parents were gone. Could not believe that she was left alone, to be kept by the uncle. Manjeva uncle onani bevatita, batenga mwana shuwa kumukatakata. Bamugula no muwonongela future, adwala matenda bamutwaliza. Voiceless woman, no you mukazi ya butika. She's a voiceless woman, no you mukazi ya butika. Pretty, pretty woman, don't you cry. Never, never worry, it's alright. Pretty, pretty woman, don't cry. Wilalila, I'll be your voice. Tekeni nomba nande kona paba nandi. Bali abakula no kulaba abafyashi. Nomba abafyashi nga wabashafye panshi. Inani umbi ukabe myakanshi. Ala abafyashi bena bala tuchulila. Inenshi faya ukumona balelila. Bamayo kalaba bombela. We munandi ule basengela. Bagayi nga bakwata mane. Jalo chilalo wa manole. Ambi bapela kofya mahane. Abafyashi bachula kubile. Bamwe abafyashi bala lomba pamsebo. Tabakwete mane yakuti bambe kwa makwebo. Ere bambi bali kota kamilite kufaya kwabo. Balomba lomba te wabakwidwe mwana wabo. She's a voiceless woman, no you mukazi ya butika. She's a voiceless woman, no you mukazi ya butika. Pretty, pretty woman, don't you cry. Never, never worry, it's alright. Pretty, pretty woman, don't you cry. Wilalila, I'll be your voice.
Before, let me welcome you to the program. And first things first, can you just backtrack a bit and tell us about that song, Voiceless?
Thank you very much, Ambassador Uncle Ben, for having me on the program today. It's so amazing to sit next to a legend and a veteran like yourself, especially having grown up watching you when I was a very, very young boy. And you've been amazing. So first of all, congratulations for everything that you've been able to achieve from your days of broadcasting up to where you are now and still helping the broadcasting industry to grow. Thank you. The song Voiceless Woman is a song that was inspired by the stance that I decided to take back in 2011 when I decided to switch and change the direction of my music from just being merely about entertainment to becoming about social change. Yeah, because initially when I started to do music, I was doing it just to express myself and to showcase my talent and to maybe like any other young person, we really want to become famous. So I cared more about the fame than what the fame could do to the next person. But I realized that the same fame that I had was beginning to affect the people around me because anything that I say is taken as gospel truth. So if I say something negative, the rest of the following that I have will be doing negative things. If I do positive things, then they'll be inspired to do positive things. So Voiceless Woman is one of the songs that I did when I took that stance and I decided to say I wanted to be the voice of the woman by being able to amplify their voices and talk about the things that they're lacking in society, different opportunities such as employment, education, and being part of the decision-making process, whether it's in politics, it's at the workplace, or it's in the home. So Voiceless Woman is a song that talks about some of the issues that women have gone through, such as gender-based violence, where they suffer physical violence, sexual violence, economic abuse, where they are deprived of certain benefits in society. And then it also talks about the young girl and how she has been treated in our society, where sometimes parents have prioritized the education of the boy child as opposed to that of the girl child because they believe that a girl will simply get married. But all that has consequences such as exposing the girl to the risk of HIV infection. So I was looking at a situation where I have seen even the accidents that have happened in the past where you have this road traffic accident and parents die. So what happens to the child who's remaining sometimes becomes a very horrible story whereby maybe they are left in the care of an uncle and maybe the uncle begins to abuse this girl sexually and maybe sometimes they're even exposed to the risk of HIV infection. So Voiceless Woman was a song where I was telling the woman to say, you need to speak out now and let the world hear what your concerns are.
Before we go any further, the background that you've given, I see that you've left out the Christian part of it. Just before we go into deep discussion, did any Christian belief impact on you to change your dancehall music, to change the clothes that you used to wear, for instance, you know, bling bling chains and things like that?
That's a very, very good question. I should have mentioned that earlier, but I was going to mention maybe a little later that the inspiration actually behind everything that I'm doing today, deciding to become a social justice advocate or an activist, actually comes as a result of my Christian belief. I come from a Christian, very strong Christian background. My mother raised me through the church, and I participated in a lot of church activities such as acting, music, and composing Christian songs and singing in the choir. So at some point in my career, I actually began to feel guilty of the things that I was doing because like I said, such as singing songs to incite people or that could cause people to sin. Yeah, so I was beginning to feel guilty to say, what does my music cause people to do? If it causes people to sin, then I'm going against what God expects me to do. But if my music converts people or causes them to take care of each other, not to abuse children, not to abuse women, then I'm preaching the gospel. So I was beginning to feel like I wasn't doing what I'm called for. So I realized what my purpose is in life and said, my purpose is to use this talent and this fame and this influence to be able to spread a positive message, and that's the gospel through my platform, and that's why I took that stance. So it's pretty much because of my Christian belief.
Right. Biflo, you are the first Zambian artist who's launched an album at the U.S. Embassy here in Lusaka. We shall talk about that a little later. But for now, can you just tell us about your early life?
Oh, yeah. My name's Brian Wembia, Bemba by tribe. I was born in a small town called Kabwe. And I grew up in Kabwe, and I was raised by a single woman. My father was absent in my life, so I didn't know much about what it is like to be raised by a father or to have a father figure in your life. So my mother was like a mother and a father at the same time. So I would say she was an iron lady or a father lady because she had to play both roles. And so I also got to see even the struggle that a woman can go through in raising children. So I want to believe that she instilled very good values in me, and that's why I think I have become the person I've become today, because she did a very good job raising me. I must also mention that in trying to raise me, I think we also went through a lot of struggles, economic struggles, where I could see that sometimes we struggled even in terms of not having 3 meals, being sent away from class by my teachers who were demanding that I pay my school fees. My mother could not afford to pay the school fees at sometimes. There was even a point in my life when I was forced to go on the streets and start selling some bubble gums and some sweets to be able to raise some money to help mom buy some food at home. For like 1 term in my 8th grade, I didn't go to school because we didn't have money to pay my school fees. So, but by the grace of the Almighty God, I still managed to pull through and did pretty well. I was even the highest at my school. I was at Broadway Basic School in Kabwe in my 9th grade and passed with flying colors to grade 10. And I was supposed to go to a boarding school, but obviously because of financial challenges, I couldn't go. So I ended up going to Kabwe High School. So while at Kabwe High School, I got involved in different activities such as clubs. So I became president for the anti-AIDS club. I became president for the anti-drug club and president for the debate club. I also became chief printer for the press club. And I was a peer educator. So I grew up doing a lot of advocacy work and a lot of taking up a lot of leadership roles while in high school. Then I served as a school head boy or school president for Kabwe High School until I completed my high school. Then after that, I had to move to Lusaka, where I now wanted to pursue my dreams. So I went to the University of Zambia, Ridgeway campus, and studied social science, social work, and then I also did a bit of Chartered Institute of Marketing at the National Institute of Public Administration with the help of different individuals like some extended family members who were putting in some money here and there. Sometimes I had to withdraw, then other times I go back to school until I managed to secure an education. Then while there, I was also doing peer education until I decided to take music as a full-time career. But it's something that I did even when I was in high school. Yeah.
So Kabwe Town must be very proud of you.
Definitely.
Yeah, so what message would you have to the people of Kabwe and to the Zambians in general of your age?
Thank you. About 2 months ago, I was traveling to the United States. So before that, I had a performance in Kabwe 3 days before my travel. So where I was performing, I had the opportunity to meet the mayor of Kabwe, and so he was making a speech and saying, I realize that we have Biflo in the audience right now, and I think he's about to perform. We are so proud of him. He's made this town so proud, and we hope that he can come back and inspire more people. And I know even where he is inspiring many people. I felt so proud to hear that, and like you have said, I think Kabwe is definitely proud of me. And my message to the young people out there, both those that are in Kabwe and those that are around Zambia and Africa, is that believe in yourself, never let anybody stop you from achieving your dreams. If you have a dream, it's your responsibility to protect it, and make sure that you nurture that dream until you get to your destination.
Surround yourself with the right people, with people that have inspired us like yourselves.
Let's backtrack a little bit again. So from Kabwe, you come to Lusaka, you go to NIPA, you go to the University of Zambia, you study social science. How about your music career now? Where did it start from?
Okay, my music career started as early as the age of 13, when I was in my 7th grade. That's where the music journey begins, because I always sang even when I was about 8 years old. I can remember times where I would stand on top of the table and start performing for the people in the house. And sometimes neighbors would come in and they say, this young man loves to sing, he should just become a musician. And when I would watch people like Ballad Zulu, Victor Kachaka on TV, the Anamwales, I would say, I want to be like them. So immediately I watched any of their videos. I would go outside and start singing the exact song that they were singing, and people would come and gather and say, he sings so well. So that was like the beginning of me discovering that I could sing, and people were saying, you should become a musician, though I never even really understood what it takes to be a musician. So in my 7th grade, I found myself getting a lot of punishments for making noise in class. And sometimes I never realized that I was even making noise, because I was a very good student. I loved my books. I could study all the time. But whenever I had some free time and nothing is going on in class, sometimes if I'm not reading a book, I would unconsciously find myself drumming and singing on the desk. So then I'm included on the list of noisemakers in class, and I get a punishment for, they even put in brackets, for singing and drumming in class. So all that was my journey to discovering my talent in music. And so even after high school, I continued to record some music. I struggled a lot with sponsorship and finding a record deal or a studio that could embrace me and maybe allow me to record for free and pay them later when the albums are out. Nobody really gave me a chance. So it was through a process of helping friends that I was with in high school that came to Lusaka and joined me in Lusaka and said, we want to see B-Flow because he used to write a lot of good songs in high school, and he can help us write an album, because they had a sponsor. So when they came and I was writing these songs for them, it was in that process that other already established artists discovered me in the studio and said, he's such a good songwriter, he could write for us. So I started writing people like General Ozzy, people like MKV, JK, there was another guy called Bob Mooley, Chocolate, and many others. So I started to help them out and feature on their songs, and so that gave me an opportunity to now be heard by the public. Then that attracted the attention of the biggest producer at the time, and his name is TK of Romaside Studio, and he's the one that now called me up and gave me that recording contract. Then that was the beginning of my first album, which was released in 2008. Yeah.
You did mention yourself that you are an advocate, a GBV advocate, and you take serious issues in protecting women's rights. The next song is Cry of a Woman. Let's listen to it, and then I would want you to just interpret after the song.
Kashana wakulwansha linti twaile mpimba ufweni atendele ine pambari ayamba puno kuntasha atipapo gamulaba elimbo ate mwisha pantulula ndatepishinka elolula mukoselesha talakwicha nokula ndamawe kilamba byalukuta elo namipishe ankasi yandipinji ulelila lintu andaswikea nalitalele shiriri atile timazi wonongela chape tikaba pwanila mitima isi tikaba pwanila ise tikaba pwanila ise tikaba pwanila mitima bamasala batandaula
mukati pwanila imwe mukati pwanila imwe mukati pwanila mitima chioneka mukondwela
tempela eliashi iyo nalimwikwishe fimbi na dichinshu sumini nabaume ngata wabatetekela anani yankaine
I still believe in love majaramuna bamene nipeza nibizende veka veka
akavumila mwamuna mauna munga uyu ebe asiyana kukuli baja bakudala
kansi nacho nichi play imwe nacho ni semu semu imwe nacho ni semu semu
mutima wa mwana kashiti mode tambulanga wafanya fanya itite mwiko kuitika wana no mwana bakashana bataka no kutetekela wana byanya babula wana bendo na tutinde okay back to Rwanda ujagelo ni namuza natima muna banzelu baliko anani yankati
Shinga abahumya betula betemwa ayona wileke agene bafaya ko bamona basomeka
oke kukamba bazona bakazi batu bamazikonda timazi wonongela chape tikaba pwanila mitima isi tikaba pwanila ise tikaba pwanila ise tikaba pwanila mitima bamasala batandaula
mukati pwanila imwe mukati pwanila imwe mukati pwanila mitima chioneka mukondwela
nakunde imbolimbo ne ufila mwechikongo bantu nekateti nchinda matonto nkanywa kwata babaume
balanga watu misango
masanga nechitemwiko uchalo chitemwiko chaluba okushumba kwa balumendo bambi bekatotubana ninshindo kupa bayupa bambi baloma bakashi babo wifi battering ilyoze banyuzi bambi balala mpikulwa nokushabana nensala bambi balisha makeo friends nokusha madamu helpless bala bafyonse bapitamu ewale bakumya manongo kazi akakonda eve amakondela tu basi akapotenjela zelu zake iwo sakalile nishiboziletelela weka yonse agodila hati
Shinga abahumya betula betemwa ayona wileke agene bafaya ko bamona basomeka
oke kukamba bazona bakazi batu bamazikonda timazi wonongela chape tikaba pwanila mitima isi tikaba pwanila ise tikaba pwanila ise tikaba pwanila mitima bamasala batandaula
mukati pwanila imwe mukati pwanila imwe mukati pwanila mitima chioneka mukondwela
Right, Biflo, Cry of a Woman. Can you interpret that?
Yes, Cry of a Woman is like the continuation to the song that we played earlier, Voiceless Woman. Cry of a Woman is a song that is based on a true story that happened in Luansha, where...
My hometown, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice one. Yeah, so at one time in my career in the year 2010, which is like 7 years ago, I went to perform in Luansha town. And there's a lady that just came to me backstage, and she wanted to talk to me. She really wanted to talk to me. So she said, you know what, on your first album, there's a song that you did called Bubblegum Lover. And on that song, I was talking about the mentality of using people, like the way you chew a bubble gum or chewing gum, and then once it's no longer sweet, you spit it out. So she said, that's my story. So that song touches my heart because so many men have broken my heart, but I still believe in love, and I wish that I could find a person that is as sweet as that song that you sang. So when she said those words, I was really touched, and she started telling me about the heartbreaks that she's gone through and how men have treated her, others have abused her, even physically. So I was touched. And I remember going back to my hotel room and started writing a song immediately. I didn't even have a title for it. So after I wrote the song, I came back to Lusaka the following morning, and I called my producer. I said, I want to record this song. I have this idea. So when we went in the studio, I said, actually, what I would do is I would look for a female voice that should be saying those same words that she was saying while I add my message of encouragement. So I looked for the best female voice that I thought was going to come out in a very emotional way like she was. And that's how I found Judy. So Judy is the one that features on Cry of a Woman. And we took the song on radio just to sample it one evening. We didn't even have a title for it. And people, excuse me, and people really loved it. So the DJ opened the phone lines and said, we want people to suggest titles. So some people said, you can call it the Luansha story. Other people said, you can call it a true story, or call it heartbreak. And then the name that kept coming was The Cry of a Woman, Cry of a Woman, Cry of a Woman. And that's how we named the song. And it was, I think it's probably, debatably, one of the biggest hits of my career.
I didn't know that song until this morning before I came into the studio. So what happened was, you know, I was chatting with my daughter and I was saying, you know, I'm going to talk to B-Flow today, and he's got this song, but you know, all I know is the one about Obama. Oh, yeah. These other songs, I don't know. Do you have any idea of any song? She said to me, no, why don't you try this one, Cry of a Woman? Yeah. And then I just went on to YouTube and, you know, and I said, wow, okay, here's B-Flow, and who is this lady? The voice is good. Anyway, I'm also a music critic, as you know, so I found that quite interesting. But as we move on, B-Flow, the message out there should be for your age mates and for those that are watching you now. You know, it should be a message of positivity in as far as we are concerned on this platform. You've also done songs like Nene. Can you explain what that is? Yes,
I'm happy that you've spoken about people my age and even those that are younger than me, or the youth in general, because I'm a youth activist myself, and I love to do anything for the young people because I'm a young person myself, and I've had my own struggles growing up as even as a single orphan, because my father died even when I was 9 years old. So having been raised by a woman, and as a young person going through struggle, I know that other young people have also gone through these struggles, but also young people don't always take responsibility, and so they end up going astray. So it's been upon my heart to want to always do something for young people. So I started an initiative called Music for Change, which is focused on the youth. And all we do is to advocate for positive social change. So through Music for Change, I've been able to make music that talks to the young people and also make music with fellow young people. So Nene is a song where I address a young person by telling them to say, believe that if other people like Uncle Ben and other legends did it at a very young age, you too can make it. You too can do whatever it is that you want to do. So I'm encouraging them to say Nene, to say me too. If that person can achieve, me too. So on this song, I'm discouraging things like young people being used as tools for political violence, and young people abusing drugs and alcohol, to say you need to focus on your dreams and do things that are more constructive with your life. And so Nene is a song where I'm just advocating for peace and encouraging young people to actually go and vote for their rightful candidates, as opposed to a situation where they complain and say, things are ever the same. Even if I vote or I don't vote, things will never change. So you would rather go and vote than complain when you did not vote. Right. Let's listen to the song, then we'll continue with the discussion.
Zambia,
votele my dear batifuti walipontele atitafichinja nangulamba votele Nombe vintu vikachinja shani ukwabulo kuvota vikachinja shani Vwemisepela tukabomba shani ukwabulo kuvota tukabomba shani Amakayobe yama mwivoti yobe Na kuchinja ni mwivoti yobe Na wona unchini mwivoti yobe Tengareji ukatenge na kavotas card Ukabike voti yandi Kabonfya voice yandi Kakwata victory My vote, my voice, my victory Kabike voti yandi Kabonfya voice yandi Kakwata victory My vote, my voice, my victory Are you 18? Olokapena very soon you'll be turning 18 In the right age to do the voting And namukatika vote you will stop the doubting Hey, hey Kuchila che wankala iwe contemplating Mulibisa na banza kumukatita debating Nyamuka uka vote iwe stop complaining My dedication to me generation Aiko no kuwaya waya Abena Lucy imwe na bena walya Abena Judy na bena Chanda Mwilabako mwebeko na bena banda Kabike voti yandi Kabonfya voice yandi Kakwata victory My vote, my voice, my victory Kabike voti yandi Kabonfya voice yandi Kakwata victory My vote, my voice, my victory Aiko no kuwaya waya Abena Lucy imwe na bena walya Abena Judy na bena Chanda Mwilabako mwebeko na bena banda Aiko no kuwaya waya Abena Lucy imwe na bena walya Abena Judy na bena Chanda Mwilabako mwebeko na bena banda But are you gonna see that change if you don't vote? Gotta express yourself through the ballot Fly the flag high, you are the pilot They don't wanna vote, ask them why not Amakayobe yama mwivoti yobe Na kuchimpa ni mwivoti yobe Na muna unshini mwivoti yobe Sunga mushe reji, sunga mushe voters card Kabike voti yandi Kabonfya voice yandi Kakwata victory My vote, my voice, my victory Kabike voti yandi Kabonfya voice yandi Kakwata victory My vote, my voice, my victory
Now that we are done with Nene, let's talk about your brand, B-Flow. How did you come up with that brand?
It's quite an interesting story from Kangwa, Uncle Ben. I remember when I was starting to do music on a serious note, though very young. I was about 14 years old. I used to participate in a lot of contests, these singing competitions, and different auditions, trying to win a prize. And so every time I went to perform somewhere, I would always be hitting my chest like that's the drum. So when I'm singing a particular song and then I'm hitting my chest as my drum. And every time I finish performing, someone would walk up to me and say, I love the way you flow. Another person would just say, I love your flow. Oh, that was a nice flow you gave us. So I never really understood what they meant at the time until one time when somebody said, I love your flow. I said, excuse me, a lot of people say they love my flow. Oh, but what do you mean when you say flow? Then they say, oh, because you have this special tongue. You are very fast with your tongue and how you toast your words. So it sounds like you're flowing. And in America, in hip-hop, they call it flowing. So that's a flow that you have. I was like, oh, really? Yeah, because I get surprised that nobody says, I love the way you sing. They say, I love the way you flow. So I said, well, since everybody says Brian can flow, I got the B from my name, Brian, and the flow from the people's compliments and put them together as B-Flow.
Right. Now let's talk about music and elections.
Oh, yeah.
I know that you've been involved in a lot of music that has to do with elections. Last year in 2016, I did write a long feature regarding the impact of music at political campaigns and things like that. And I noticed that your stance was different from the other musicians because you concentrated much more on trying to get young people to vote. Could you just explain that?
Yes, so through the initiative that I started, the foundation that I mentioned, Music for Change Initiative, I partnered with the United States Embassy to launch my Go Out and Vote campaign, which was a partnership between BFLO and the Young Women in Action. And then we took it to the embassy and launched it from there. But that campaign, the Go Out and Vote campaign, was meant to talk to young people to say, use your vote as your voice, as a way to express yourself whenever you want to achieve something. If you want to see a particular type of leadership, you will not see it by talking and complaining, you see it by voting. And we also looked at the statistics in terms of the 2015 election, which was characterized by a lot of apathy. People did not want to vote for whatever reason. So we thought it right that we should speak to the people and encourage more people to actually go out and use their vote. So that's how the Go Out and Vote campaign was launched. And I'm happy to actually report that in the last election that we had on 11th August 2016, there was an increase in the voter turnout where we had 1.5 million newly registered voters. So I feel that I should take part of the credit, and I know that you too, Uncle Ben, played a very important role. I saw you presenting TV programs encouraging people to vote. So we would take the credit too and say we contributed through the Go Out and Vote project.
Right. How about this song now, Victory?
Yeah. So Victory is part of the continuation to the Go Out and Vote campaign, because now we moved into another phase which we call Triple V. Triple V was like the second phase of the Go Out and Vote campaign. So Triple V is 3 V's, which stand for my voice, my vote, my victory. So it's when you vote that you're expressing your voice, and so you'll be happy with the results that come once you achieve that, because you have expressed yourself. So the song Victory was talking about young people celebrating their own victory in the fact that they have voted. Whether your candidate has won or not, the fact that you expressed yourself and you exercised your right to vote, and you did not use violence, you did not take to the streets to go and fight another person who has had a different or an opposing opinion, that just makes you victorious and you are at peace. So Victory is talking to young people to say, instead of blaming even the government for whatever is happening in your life, like you don't have a job, stand up, get up, and maybe use your talent to achieve your victory.
Right, let's listen to Victory.
Yes.
Batifuti walipontele atitafi chinja nangola mbabotele ulia mwaka twalivotele MP elo kansela twavotele alikwi alikukila kutauni dombe fintu vika chinja shani nga mwatula wakonga mwaingila pachani fwemisepela tukabomba shani nga twapwisho kuvota mwatuposa pansi amakayobe yaba mwivotili andi niwe wine wentungulushi yandi wilandekelesha nolupwa lwandi makamaka mukomboni chivutikapa nkasange chumatandi ikawa my life yandi ngakwata victory I know I'll find my victory nkasange chumatandi ikawa my life yandi ngakwata victory I know I'll find my victory. Are you 18? Olokapenda very soon you'll be turning 18. The near right age to do the right things. If I keep up, it will stop the doubting. Hey, hey, funza kobena fije bena kavindele. Mana kwanisa bonje kutsibale mele. Mana licheba fana iwe don't be lazy. Osa yembekeza boma kama nkala busy. Kuseni seni uli mumadizi. Imwe puto ili yonse niva governmenti. Nyamuka pe ulili find the right direction. My dedication to me generation. Aiko no kuwaya waya. Abena Lucy imwe na bena bwalia. Abena Judy na bena Chanda. Wilabako webeko na bena banda. Kasange tumatandi. Ikawa my life yandi. Kakwata victory. I know I'll find my victory. Kasange tumatandi. Ikawa my life yandi. Kakwata victory. I know I'll find my victory.
Uchita chani iwe munzangam. Antawi itikinga iwe tamangam. Osankala chabeno zipovam. Kuyembekeza bumati iza sovam. Wekatila kutisha kwebele. Na life inga changing ngati unga believe. Sipelele chifundo nyamuka pamupando. Tika kwilizana manja tinga chinje ziko.
Aiko no kuwaya waya. Abena Lucy imwe na bena bwalia. Abena Judy na bena Chanda. Wilabako webeko na bena banda. Aiko no kuwaya waya. Abena Lucy imwe na bena bwalia. Abena Judy na bena Chanda. Wilabako webeko na bena banda. Nkasange tumatandi. Ikawa my life yandi. Kakwata victory. I know I'll find my victory. Nkasange tumatandi. Ikawa my life yandi. Kakwata victory. I know I'll find my victory. Nkasange tumatandi. Ikawa my life yandi. Kakwata victory. I know I'll find my victory. Nkasange tumatandi. Ikawa my life yandi. Kakwata victory. I know I'll find my victory.
Uno mwakande nonka. Chino chakande nonka.
Well, thanks for that. Now, let's talk about the Young African Leaders Initiative. You went to the US in 2015.
Yes.
I do remember that. We had been to Siavonga together, if you remember very well.
Yes.
And we kept talking about this Young African Leaders Initiative. And I was explaining to you how we had the first batch of Zambians that had come when I was in my
I remember
previous,
you telling me that you should get used to being counted. When you're in America, they'll be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you go somewhere, they will still count.
Yeah, absolutely. Did they do that?
I remember, yes, they did. They did, and I remembered you.
Okay, so let's talk about the Young African Leaders Initiative now. What have you learned from that?
The Young African Leaders Initiative was a very great opportunity for me, and I'm really grateful to the US government for having invested in me. And President Barack Obama in particular, because he's the one that started the Young African Leaders Initiative, and then he launched a flagship program called the Mandela Washington Fellowship, which was an investment in African youth by taking them to the United States of America and letting them be in different US universities to learn about the things that they're interested in. So what made me go for YALI was the fact that I realized that by virtue of me being a musician, I'm actually a leader. But that's what a lot of musicians and other celebrities don't actually realize, that the fact that you have a following, you have people that look up to you, a role model, so therefore you're a leader. So when I heard about the Young African Leaders Initiative, I realized that this is something that wants to help young people who are interested in leadership, or those that are already leading in different spheres of life, to improve on how they can actually handle their leadership. So I went for it, and I was selected by the US Embassy in Zambia, and I went to Wagner College in Staten Island in New York, and I learned about civic leadership there. And at the end of my course, it was time to come back home, but I was happy to be awarded what they call a professional development experience, which is like an internship by President Barack Obama, to say you can now stay in the US for another 3 months and work in an institution that is in line with what you do. So I worked for a company called OK Africa, which is a company that focuses on raising the profile of African musicians on the global stage. And I was learning about music, about the music business, record labels, because I had the interest of starting my own. So I wanted to learn from how they do it. And also had the opportunity to attend President Barack Obama's summit, the presidential summit in Washington, D.C., where I was invited with other young African leaders, and where there was an audience of about 1,000 young leaders from all over the world. He actually pinpointed me and just selected me and said, this is the person that we have decided to partner with and endorse the work that I do in Zambia, and made a speech actually, which was a very big deal for me, that the President of the US, of all the people, he would single me out and just talk about the work that I do. And that was more like the beginning of my career at an international stage now, because a lot of people now paid attention and said, who is this B-Flow that President Obama is talking about? So YALI has been very beneficial. And after that, I came back to Zambia and started to apply the things that I was learning. And that's how I started even the Music for Change Foundation, to be able to use it as a platform to be able to express myself and implement the things that I learned, which is part of my strategic plan, which we call the Leadership Development Plan. So I'm now executing it through that Music for Change platform.
So when you were at OK Africa, you said you learned about...
It's an American company, but the name is OK Africa because they focus on Africa.
Yeah, because you learned issues to do with music management. Yes. Now, let me ask this question. You have your own record label now?
Yes, I now
have. What is it called?
It's called Music for Change. So Music for Change is in two. There's the Music for Change record label, and there's the Music for Change Foundation, which is the vehicle that we use for social responsibility.
Right. Now, tell me about your part-time broadcasting. I think that is of interest to me. Yes. I would like to know, are you still continuing with your GBV programs on radio?
I'm glad that you remember, because the 2015 meeting that you mentioned, you were actually training us about good ethics in broadcasting. And I started doing radio back in 2012, which is like 5 years ago. And I still do it on part-time basis, because I'm very busy now with the international tours, with the Music for Change Foundation, with my own performances, my own creativity and recordings. So, but I still do radio. I still go on radio like 2 times or 1 time every week. It's been amazing being on radio. And thanks to you for the training that we actually underwent.
Right. We'll be playing a song called Dear Mama in just a little while. But for now, I just want you to just give words of encouragement to the young folks out there who may be watching this program. What do you have to say?
Okay. I still talk to them on radio and also in my songs, and I'm happy that I have this platform to be able to talk to them. So my message is be responsible and find the right priorities for your life, because many of the times that young people tend to go astray because of the frustrations that we go through sometimes, where you don't have a job or your parents can't afford to take you to a good university or a good college. But if you are responsible, sometimes, somewhere, somehow, your dreams will just be realized. So take that responsibility, and also realize that the time for us to be the future leaders is actually now. The future that we've always spoken about is now, has now arrived, because we always used to say children are the future leaders. We're no longer children, we're now the youth. So let's now take on that leadership that we've always wanted.
Right. So before we just wind up one more time, what about the role of your being a Christian to all these messages?
Definitely. I want to encourage actually young people out there to say, whatever you do, you need to look at the consequences. To say, just like the Bible states, or just like the Bible says, enjoy your youth, but remember that there are consequences in whatever action you take. So even as we enjoy our youth, we should always learn to be responsible, because we're going to be judged based on the things that we're doing today. And remember that as a human being, you have the responsibility to make disciples of your own. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do right now by trying to empower and encourage other young people to take on that route, which is socially conscious, that is positive, that is gospel-based, and that is Christian. So be mindful of that and always read the Word of God for your encouragement and for you to know the right way to go about life. That's the only best way. God is the solution.
Well, here is Dear Mama with an excerpt from President Barack Obama.
While in the U.S., he's learned about our healthcare system, met the founder of an American HIV/AIDS organization, and now he plans to start a record label for music about social change. So, Brian, we're proud to be your partner. I've only got time for one more question.
Mr. President, out of all the artists in the world, why did you choose to endorse B-Flow?
Why me?
So that you're able to continue the great work that you're already doing, but take it to the next level.
Music.
That's what Brian Wembia of Zambia plans to do. Where's Brian? Where is he?
Thank you.
Dear Mama, I'm chilling with Obama, and he's telling me he's proud of me. Oh Mama, I'm dining with kings and queens, and I wish you were here with me. Mama, you the genesis of my story. Why should you be absent in victory? Mama, you the genesis of my story, but why should you be absent in victory?
So Brian uses music to advocate against things like gender-based violence and to educate youth on HIV/AIDS.
Mama, remember all the struggles back in Kabwe, but you told me blessings will come my way. I promised you me I go work and pray. Now Jaja bless me day by day. Me counting me blessings, but me can't see Mama. And me want to share the blessings with me sweet Mama. When me making new friends like Barack Obama and Ambassador Eric Schultz, thanks to my Redeemer. We blazing fire, we going higher. Refresh our desire, we now retire. We used to admire, now we inspire. I wish my mama could see. Dear Mama, I'm chilling with Obama, and he's telling me he's proud of me. Oh Mama, I'm dining with kings and queens, and I wish you were here with me. Mama, you the genesis of my story. Why should you be absent in victory? Mama, you the genesis of my story, but why should you be absent in victory? Chabe mwana wa masiye olokapena ndiwe mwana wa mugeto makolo bakosiba nankalepo ba minista ne ba mukomboni inekwenzeko na ntawi nezo kulisa maswiti paka western tropa chapagana street inekudabolelo nankala ndine superstar nangena mutivi mulungu kuli mwe alili amadabu isana ngakuchose mukomboni no kupeleka state house kuli mwe alili amadabu isana anatenga mubula kino mungenesa White House. Dear Mama, I'm chilling with Obama, and he's telling me he's proud of me. Oh Mama, I'm dining with kings and queens, and I wish you were here with me. Mama, you the genesis of my story. Why should you be absent in victory? Mama, you the genesis of my story, but why should you be absent in victory?
While in the U.S., he's learned about our healthcare system, met the founder of an American HIV/AIDS organization, and now he plans to start a record label for music about social change.
Now that the Lord is blessing me, many are hating me, but me no worry about them. Me just close me ear, me never bring them near. Them poison us, I know. When the Lord is blessing you, many who hate on you, don't you worry, my friend. Just close your ear, never bring them near. Them poison us, my friend. Konse viloto vano nizapitiliza, nizapikiliza mama. Babanja bonse bene mwezo sunga mama, nizasunga munga banga. Dear Mama, I'm chilling with Obama, and he's telling me he's proud of me. Oh Mama, I'm dining with kings and queens, and I wish you were here with me. Mama, you the genesis of my story. Why should you be absent in victory? Mama, you the genesis of my story, but why should you be absent in victory? Dear Mama, with Obama, and he's telling me he's proud of me. Oh mama, I'm dining with kings and queens, and I wish you were here with me. Mama, you the genesis of my story. Why should you be absent in victory? Mama, you the genesis of my story, but why should you be absent in victory? I need you.
So Brian, we're proud to be your partner.
Back to you as we finally wind up the program. I saw on that clip that you also interacted with people like Common.
Oh yes.
You also interacted with people like Queen Latifah. I saw my former boss there, Palan Mulonda. I saw, you know, American ambassador to Zambia, Eric Schutz.
Yes.
And of course, Barack Obama.
Oh yeah.
Any last word to all of us?
Yes. I want to say thank you very much to all those people that you have mentioned, and also to yourself for the inspiration that you have provided in my life. I draw a lot of inspiration from legends like yourselves and the work that you have been able to do. So being in the US has been very, very beneficial to me, and from all that just shows that I've been on tour. I've been on my world tour. I've visited places like England, the US, and I just came back from the tour of the United States, where I was fundraising for the African Education Program to come and help orphans and vulnerable children in Africa with education. So through interacting with all these great men, and including people like yourself that you have mentioned, it's opened so many doors for me to be able to go out there and do something for Mother Zambia. So I'm so proud, and thank you very much.
Biflo, it's been nice talking to you.
Thank you, Ambassador, for having me.
I'm equally proud of you.
Thank you very much. I'm happy that you've inspired me.
Absolutely, you're welcome. Well, there you are, our guest on Conversation today, Biflo. Join us again next week at the same time. Bye for now.